A lot of truckers know what the load pays. Way fewer know what it costs them to move it, and that is how you stay busy, run hard, and still lose money without noticing it until the week is over. If you don't know cost per mile, you're not really making a business decision. You're guessing. A lot of weak weeks in trucking do not start with a terrible load. They start with bad math. The rate looks fine, the load sounds normal, and the truck keeps moving, so it feels like the business is working. But movement is not the same as profit. That is the trap. If you do not know your cost per mile, you do not really know what a good load is. You only know what it pays on the surface. And in this market, surface numbers are dangerous. Diesel is still high, operating pressure is still real, and a lot of the freight that looks better at first still leaves less room than drivers think. That is why some owner-operators stay busy all week and still finish the week frustrated. The work was real. The miles were real. The money pressure was real too. The missing piece was the math. Cost per mile changes the way you look at every load. Without it, you can confuse motion for margin. You can take a load that feels productive, burns time, burns fuel, adds wear, and still leaves almost nothing once the week settles. That is why this number matters so much right now. A lot of carriers are seeing rates that look stronger than they did before, but that does not automatically mean true improvement. Fuel is still doing damage. Costs are still heavy. And if your business only reacts to the rate on the screen, you can get fooled into calling a weak load a good one. That is the deeper problem. Good judgment in trucking does not start with hype. It starts with knowing your number. Because when you know your cost per mile, you stop reacting emotionally. You start judging freight like a business. And this is where a lot of truckers quietly lose money. Not because they are lazy, not because they do not work hard, because they are making decisions without a clean floor under them. If your cost per mile is unclear, then every load is being judged with incomplete information. And incomplete information gets expensive fast. A load that pays $220 can be weak. A load that pays $250 can also be weak. The question is never just what the load pays. The question is what it leaves after your real operating cost, after the pressure of the week, and after the rest of the trip unfolds. That is the shift serious owner-operators have to make. Stop asking only, what does this load pay? Start asking, what does this load leave? Because once you know your true cost per mile, bad freight starts looking bad much earlier. And that saves money before the week falls apart. If you don't know cost per mile, you're not judging freight clearly. You're guessing, and guessing gets expensive. If you want more breakdowns like this on trucking money, owner-operator profit, and smarter load decisions, subscribe. Have a safe road.